Canterbury is very lucky to have had a very finite number of people that have made an extraordinary contribution to our community. And in the technology area, there is no person better known for the fantastic work he's done than Sir Gil Simpson. Welcome along, Gil. Great to have you on the program. Gil, you've changed tack. You've gone on to a new pitch now. Tell us a little bit about what you're moving into.
Well, Peter, I've been focused on computer programming, and that's really what I am. And I've been trying to make programming easier because I want more people to be able to program, and those that can program do more capable things. And I think, to my own level, I'm pretty satisfied with that work. But really the issue with software, which I've slowly discovered over time, is channel to market. The problem is you can create software, but how do you sell it? And there's nothing normal about buying software. If we want to buy a car, which is a pretty important thing to us, we can go out on the street and we know what to do and we know what we're buying and we know where we're going and we pretty well know what we've got at the end of it. Same with a home. We can buy a home, and that's a major decision. It's affects your life in so many different ways, and yet it's simple, it's clear cut, we have choices and we can look at those choices. So I decided to normalise buying software, because if you walk out on the street and said, I'm going to buy software, you wouldn't know what to do, you wouldn't know where to go, and that's what I'm involved in.
So, Gil, you know more about software than probably anyone else in New Zealand. Has this been an issue of smoke and mirrors? I mean, is there some why? I mean, this is a fantastic concept that you've come up with, but why have you just come up with it? I mean, why hasn't someone else determined that this is a problem and that we should have clearer channels to market?
Well, I think it's just the bizarre structure of the history of the software industry. I mean, software is very very young in terms of being an industry. And, I call software programming cave rock drawing to try and make people be aware how, primitive it really is, and that we sort of do it in secret, and there is a lot of smoke and mirrors around that. But if you go back, what happened was that computers came out, and in the beginning in the 60s and through the 70s, IBM, and into the 80s, IBM dominated. They were called Snow White, and there were the Seven Dwarves, which were companies like ICL, Hewlett, NCR, Burroughs, Sperry, Digital Corporation, or DEC as they were called. They were the sort of the little dwarves. And then the market changed to a software dominated industry, and now the dominant players are Oracle, SAP, Microsoft. And so we have this strange situation of these very, very dominant players, and yet there's no real reason. It's just the way it's all happened. So Larry Ellison about 5 years ago said that he was going to rationalise the software industry. And I thought at the time, how can you rationalise the irrational? And it was really through that process that I came up with, I'm going to normalise the software industry, and I thought, and I'm going to do something about that.
So we're trying to rationalise the irrational, or normalise the software industry. These software companies, these mega giants, these multinationals, they may have been operating in a difficult channel to market, but they've been extraordinarily successful, have they not?
They are extraordinarily successful, but it's the old argument of the person, with one tooth in the land of the toothless is king or queen. And I think that's really what's happened. It's really happened because there's not the choices there. There's no perception of another reality. Now, the reality for the customer is they have software that frequently is ill-suited to their needs. They have software that they can't modify or change in any way. They're totally dependent upon that supplier. So it's like you have no choices. They have to go through a whole series of experiences, which is crazy. Fundamentally, creating software is an artist. A software is not a geek any more than an artist is a geek. Software is an art form. And what you're doing when you buy software is you're buying somebody's painting, for want of a better definition, or you could call it a print of a painting if you want. But it's a painting. And we have this weird thing that you buy a painting, you're very happy with it. Let's say it suits you perfectly. But then they want you to take next year's painting and
pay for it.
And pay for it. And it's got some seagulls on it. And you say, well, I don't want the seagulls. They're of no interest to me. And then they're offended that you don't want their latest version. And they're personally hurt by it. And it's this whole emotion of the artist caught up with this kind of bizarre distribution system. So I thought, right, I'm going to cut through all that. I'm going to create an environment where chief executives, chief financial operators, manufacturing plant managers, people who do things can go into an environment off the high street, as I say. I mean, the premises are not in the high street, they're in Victoria Square, but I use this high street terminology. You walk off the high street into a place which is safe and which you're not going to be bombarded with a whole lot of technology, and we're going to just talk about what your problem is, and then from there there's a whole different process that takes over.
So you'll have a team in your high street shop in Victoria Square,
Yep.
Who are going to be able to greet people and give them a tailor-made version of what they want? Or
Correct. Everything is about customisation. And that customisation could be as simple as just your logo on something, but actually customisations are frequently simple, but they are fundamental because every small, medium enterprise is unique in its own right. And it's that uniqueness as to why people deal with them. And perhaps it's the attitude of the staff, perhaps it's the quality of their service, a whole range of things. But what an information system's got to do is reinforce that difference. It adds value when it reinforces the proposition, the difference proposition that a business offers.
So to use your painting analogy, if I want a painting of a landscape with 7 seagulls on it, you will give me a piece of software that gives me that painting with 7 seagulls on it.
Correct.
And that isn't what I would get if I bought something off the shelf from one of the big distributors that so far have dominated the market.
Not at all. And equally, if you wanted it modified, it would cost you a fortune. And then every time an upgrade comes out, you're required to do this and that. Whereas you get your painting, it's yours. There's no maintenance, there's no upgrade fees, there's nothing. And in 3 years' time, if you want 8 seagulls and a cloud, then we add the 8th seagull and put a cloud on.
But that would be just like buying another wing mirror for your car.
Absolutely. It's no different.
Okay. So that's a total different selling proposition. I mean, what you're doing is you're actually presenting people with a piece of software that they buy. It's theirs. They take title to it. They're not licensed to use it. It's their software.
It's theirs. It's actually a license because of IP, but it's an unrestricted, license. It's theirs to do as they please with.
And if it wears out or breaks down or becomes out of date, they can discard it and come and buy a new set of software.
Correct. And if it breaks down, we'll fix it. I mean, it's just like paying for a breakdown in the car, and breakdowns will occur from time to time for a range of reasons. We don't even use the word bug. It's when you have a breakdown. But because you're not changing the software, you won't encounter. Frequently bugs happen or breakdowns happen when you get the new version. Everything was fine till you got the new version. Right. I mean, it's nuts.
Something comes in and messes it all up. Gil, just before we go to break, we'll come back after the break and talk in more detail about this very exciting venture that you've initiated. The name of the company?
Jolly Good Software.
And what a jolly good name. We'll come back after the break and share some more discussion with Gil Simpson about his exciting new business venture.